Hi. Just recently, I've been on Facebook. I had a GoFundMe. I withdrew the GoFundMe because I had to take it out of the court because of the DNA and everything and the stress that it was causing to my older children. It doesn't mean I'm giving up. I'm on Facebook. I'm on YouTube. Just recently, my last video that I posted, and I went Facebook Live. I touched a lot of nerves, and a lot of people are scared right now. They do not want this to come out. You see, like all dirty little secrets, it will come out. It's when you have garbage in your house and you don't take it out, it stinks. You eventually you have to go into that room and you have to take out that garbage because it stinks. The more it rots, the more it stinks. Just like the IVF industry, it stinks. It's time to change house. It's time to stop discrimination on age and refusing women the right for medically assisted pregnancies. There's a lot of discrimination. I've been to the College de Medicine, and it was only on one issue with Procrea. They refused me there based on age discrimination and the choices that I was making. And when the other crooked doctor failed my cycle, he said the crooked doctor got away with it, but the gynecologist who got in as a reproductive doctor without the background, it states if you do one procedure of IVF, then you're considered a specialist. That's not right. See, there's a lot of injustices. You don't know if it's a gynecologist doing your retrieval or actually an endocrinologist, gynecologist that specializes in IVF. You don't know that. You see, there's a lot of things that we have to be made aware of. It's not only being desperate to have that baby and to do the IVF, because you know what? Mistakes are being made. And it's a lot of money. It's thousands and thousands of dollars. You see, I complained about the cycle being, going belly up. No eggs were viable because the retrieval was done too early. $32,000 down the drain. And the only thing that he got in trouble for was talking bad about the other doctors, saying that the clinic was dirty, the preparation room was never prepared for him right, telling me that he's a money-grubbing SOB. That's what he got in trouble for. Not about failing the cycle, not about anything else. And then the doctor at the College de Medicine said the owner of the clinic should have seen me, and he was going to talk to him and tell him his decision was wrong. You see, I did everything I could. Because of my age, that I was being discriminated against. When the government stopped paying, clinics called. And then when the government started trickling out their little funds, they didn't want to see me. You know what? Medical care should be for everybody. Regardless of your age, it should be based on health. When I went back to Procrea, I seen a really nice doctor. And he goes, I worked in California and I know it's possible for women, over the age of 40, 50 to get pregnant. He goes, I got a woman pregnant. She delivered a daughter. Her daughter's healthy, beautiful child. It is possible. Stop the discrimination on women. You know, it's about creating families. Let people know where these clinics are, where you can go. Tell the government, you know what? Stop the discrimination. Because that's what it is. It's discrimination on women. You know, we talk about discrimination on color, discrimination on gays. Discrimination is everywhere. Stop the hate. And then, you know what? Once you stop the hate, you stop the corruption. Because people are desperate and they go where they can get help. It should be in your local communities, getting help, you know, because you know what? It comes down to the same thing. Everybody is paying for their care. And, you know, manipulating cycles and taking embryos, it's wrong. And no matter what, we have to stop it. That's why I'm asking other YouTubers to help me. You know, if you can get your fans, you know, to look at my page, to help me, you know, it would be greatly appreciated. Because right now I'm one person, like I'm talking to other people and they say it's wrong and you go girl, you know, but I'm one person. I have 2 older children that I use sperm donors for. And I never wanted to tell them. Never. And my son right now is not talking to me because he's upset that I didn't tell him the truth. The person that I was with at the time, he was infertile and he couldn't have children. And just recently, he got in touch with my son on Facebook and said, I'm your father. He wasn't there for him. I used to have to tell him, come see your son, come see your son. I was 4 months pregnant with my daughter at the last time my son seen him. I told him, come see him on a regular basis because I'm not calling you every day to come see your son. People that he knew would buy my son the Christmas presents, birthday presents, and he never gave it to my son. He goes, my room is filled with toys and gifts and clothes for him. You know, it's like everybody wants to see him. But he never involved my son in his life. You know, he worked in a school in the West Island, in the church community. You know, he talked about his son. He showed pictures of his son. But he never involved his son in his life. And I stopped calling. I moved away. I bought a house. I started a business. I looked after my children. My common-law husband raised them as his own. Went out working as an electrician, going out all hours of the day and night working. But he would come back at 5 in the morning, dirty, to take my son to hockey. And he goes, I'll get something to eat at the arena and that, but he has to go to hockey. He did. He took my daughter figure skating. He did everything for them. See, that is what love is about. It doesn't matter how you were created. It's love. And right now, my son is angry because he wants to know who his donor is. And why did I do this? And why didn't I tell him? See, he has to reach out to the donor and do his legwork and everything and see where he comes from. He did ancestry DNA. And he has my side, the other side. DNA don't lie. And right now, he's looking for his biological father. And I'm okay with it. See, the truth always comes out. No matter what you do, the truth comes. You see, no matter what you do in life, it always comes back to bite you in the ass. And I love my children, and I wanted them. My decisions in my life, you know, it does affect the kids. Because you know what? It will come back. The truth always comes back. Nothing stays a secret. You see, what happened to me at this IVF clinic, I didn't want to go back to see him. I knew about the theft. I knew what he did about it, to me. I talked to a lot of people, and I was trying to find another doctor. My other option was to try to go to Italy, or go back to the Ukraine, or to go to Europe, or Toronto, because I was in the process of talking to another IVF doctor. But because every clinic has an age limit cutoff, like I only had a couple of months, and I had to make that decision. If I was going to have another baby, I had to do the retrieval fast. I went back to this doctor, knowing that he stole from me, knowing everything, what this nurse did to me. It took everything I had not to react with her. See, I'm the type of person, I'm all or nothing. If I start talking about it, the emotions come up to the surface, and then I explode. See, I didn't talk about it. Like even when I was there and there was a new secretary, there was another couple there and that just did a retrieval, and she goes, what about my embryos? What if I don't pay for the freezing? What happens? The new secretary goes, we no longer give away embryos in this clinic. And I started bubbling. Let me tell you, it took everything for me not to explode. And I looked at her and I pretty much gave her the evil eye and said, shut the fuck up, bitch, because if you say one more word, I'm gonna explode. And she knew the look I was giving her. And then the doctor called me, we discussed it. When to do the next retrieval. And like I was hesitant. Because I don't know about you, but $32,000 is a lot of money. And I was talking to this lady, and I was telling her, I don't know if I want to go back to him. Because if he did it to me once, is he going to do it to me again? Because he did double dip. And she goes, you better make your decision fast, because it's playing out. And then he did things without my permission. He got things started. And I should have stopped everything. But I continued. And when I went back to do the transfer, the doctor told me there's only 4. And they don't look good. They can't be graded. And that's sometimes what happens with a share cycle. He involved other people again. And I did conceive with my daughter. He transferred 2, 1 took. What happened was, I told him in the transfer room, you better fucking hope that I get pregnant. When I went back for the blood test, I already did a urine test, I was pregnant. Because there's nothing wrong with me. And I did conceive my daughter. And I told him, you're not off the hook. I don't know how I feel. You see, I had a very difficult pregnancy with my daughter. Doctors told me that the blood test was abnormal, that my daughter would have Down syndrome. And I was already like 6.5, 7 months pregnant for my daughter. I asked God, give me the serenity and the peace to go through with this pregnancy to give me a child that is normal. If not, then help me through my life with this baby, because I cannot kill her. And I knew it was a little girl. And it was difficult. You know, I went to the super hospital here in Montreal, and doctors telling me not to have her. I go, she's already a viable baby. And they go, don't worry, it's humanely done. And I go, no. And then my doctor tells me that she's not going to be there. You know, she's going on vacation. And I already had bad feelings that I would be with a doctor that I don't know, that I can't do this. And I know from my previous pregnancy that I had to deliver at 37. And, you know, my son was what, 37 in 3 days? And I knew that she would have to be coming. And I called up a friend that's my gynecologist. And I go, please, deliver my baby. We made the arrangements. I delivered at St. Mary's here in Montreal. And they did a C-section. I had a hidden abruption, which is called CRETA. I was already hemorrhaging. My daughter was born. Her legs were atrophied. She measured 14 inches. But she was normal. She was healthy. And I said in the operating room, I knew she was healthy. I knew she didn't have Down syndrome. And, you know, like, I said, thank you, God. The surgery took a lot longer because the placenta was coming out in pieces. And it was like liver. And it took from 9 o'clock until about 12 o'clock. And C-sections are like 3-4 minutes tops. And she goes, you know, like, I'm lucky to be alive. My daughter's lucky to be alive. She was swallowing blood. And, like, I thank God every day. Like, I have a guardian angel, like, tapping my shoulder, telling me, it's like, what's going wrong in my life, and trust my intuition. See, I should have trusted my intuition with that fertility clinic. But I thank God that I did listen, and I left, and I went to my friend. Because otherwise, my daughter would have died in utero. I would have died. Because CRETA kills women in pregnancy. It's the placenta growing into the uterus. And God has always been on my side. I never hurt anybody. I never do anything that will cause anybody pain. Never. I always try to be a good person to people, even though people hurt me. You know, I'm asking for people to say that this is wrong. Like, I watch other YouTubers, and right now I'm watching Peaches. Like, this woman is the bomb, you know? She just gave birth to her 6th child that's missing a piece of his brain. And I wanted to reach out to her and tell her, like, this happened to me with my daughter, but they said she had Down syndrome. And like, she was normal. Like, don't worry, you know? And I go, she's gonna think I'm fucking crazy, you know? So I didn't do it. You know? Like, I watch other people's lives and playing out, like, what the hells and everything, and the Hudsons, and, you know, like, I enjoy it. Like, and, like, all these other YouTubers, like, I find it fascinating, amazing, and seeing how their lives are, and, it, you know, I go, okay, I don't have the guts to be a YouTuber. Like, not at all, you know? It's like, I'm a very quiet person, like in the background, and you know, I never exposed my life. I wasn't brought up that way. Like, I was brought up in a very tough neighborhood. A lot of shady business there, you know, let me tell you. You know, you mind your business. You don't see anything. You don't smell anything. You don't speak anything. You don't hear anything. And you'll be just fine. You know, and the neighborhood that I grew up in was very tough. And, you know, and a lot of the people that I knew growing up there, they're either in jail, or they're dead, or they're barely surviving right now. You know, a lot of my friends were, you know, good people. It's just that the circumstances that they were in, you know. And, like, I know a lot of people, and a lot of people know me. I'm quiet. I keep to myself. I mind my business. I raise my children. And, see, that's what I thought my life was going to be about. You see, last night I was on Facebook, and like my account got shut down because I touched toes, literally stepping on toes, and like you have to send back a message and all that. Like, what did I say? Everything that I said is my life. What I've been experiencing and going through hell. See? I know I'm stepping on a lot of toes. Because you know what? Like, I watch YouTube and videos, and this one doctor from, what is it? New York, reproductive health and that. Like he said, you know, it's like something has to be done about abandoned embryos. That are embryos that are in clinics for over 5 years, and they send out registered letters and telling them, what are you going to be doing with this? See, there is millions and millions of embryos out there. And you know what? They should be used for reproductive medicine, like, you know, like advancing technology, doing something. But to transfer them to another woman, no, that's wrong. But you should sign a contract in the very beginning with the clinic. If the clinic is donating embryos or selling them, it should be in a contract saying, listen, if you abandon your embryos for more than 5 years, we have the right to decide what we're going to do with them. Because we work hard to create these embryos. Let them know from the very beginning what your intentions are. See, I went into a clinic. I did a retrieval. I paid $1,000 to freeze them. I went back and I told him, I'm using my embryos. He lied to me about destroying 4 embryos. He gave it to that couple. They didn't get pregnant. He double dipped. He told me that what the woman told me was true. That he gave one to her, one to me in November. There was 1 embryo left in December. He set up a transfer for her. He set up a transfer for me. The embryo was in the room. If he was going to do the transfer on me, that means he was going to do a fake transfer on her. But the nurse ran out of the room with the transfer tube, and he covered her tracks. That makes him just as guilty. He was going to do something to her with no embryo, and then I would have got pregnant, had my son, and I would be I wouldn't know. Like, I would be like, okay, you know, things are okay, you know, I'm pregnant, that's it. But then my daughter wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have done another retrieval. Because I went back for my son. Because I have 2 older children that are grown up, living out of the house. And I looked at my son and I go, It's not fair for you to be an only child. I brought you here, and I want you to be the happiest little boy on this face of the earth. And there's nothing that I wouldn't do for you. That's why I went back to have another child for him. I had my son Zane for me. I had my child and not to go back to have. My child was stolen from my son, and the promises that I made to him that I would go back and get pregnant for him. You see, where is the justice? You see, they stole from my son, his little brother, that he could have grew up with and played hockey and fight with, and then later on in life go out the clubs, meet their future wives, you know, and say, you know, we had a great life. Mom was there for us. You know, it's like chilling out as bros, you know. See, the relationship between brothers are different than sisters. And, you know, he has a right to his brother. See, that child was meant for me. I did the retrieval. I was in the room doing a transfer. Like, this was wrong all the way around. Like, I talked to this woman, she goes, aren't you happy for her that, you know, I was like, this is her 6th transfer and she got pregnant. You're not looking at it the right way. This woman was never supposed to be there. She was supposed to create her own embryos. The doctor was never allowed to provide embryos to anybody. It's against the law. What she did was break the law. She didn't do this the right way. My embryo was stolen out of the room by this nurse. I was in shock. You see, thinking back, I should have, could have, would have. It doesn't happen that way. You're in shock. And what do? The doctor is lying to you, telling you he did it. What are you going to do? I sent an email. I backed up my tracks because I learned from when my common law husband passed away. Always do emails. Always backtrack. Always have a reference point that has a timestamp. And I did. I did everything humanly possible. My credit cards. Everything is on there. Every procedure that I paid for is on there. My bank statements. Everything. See, he thought by not doing a contract for disposition, meaning what are you going to do with your embryos? Are you going to give them away to someone else? Are you going to donate them to reproductive medicine, or are you going to destroy them? And I kept on asking and asking, and I asked that nurse, and she goes, we don't do that here. And I asked the doctor, he goes, we don't do that here. I recently found out that it is a part of reproductive medicine. And by him not doing that, he broke laws. You were supposed to have a contract with your client before giving out any prescriptions, anything. You were supposed to do this. And he didn't. Because he thought that by not having that with me, that he could use my embryos without my knowledge, without my consent. I got pregnant on the first transfer for my son. He used my embryos when I was pregnant. When I went back, he was in shock. He thought he would never see me again. Don't count on not seeing your clients again, because that urge to have a child is always there. And especially when you have one perfect little child, you go one more for them to be best friends. to have that relationship with, to grow up with, not to be lonely. You need siblings. You see, as human beings, we're not meant to be alone. We reach out for humanly contact. And you know what? In families, that's what it's about. Being together, raising family, having a good time. You see, that's why I wanted another child for my son. And you know what? It did kind of conflict in my family and with my older children. Why would you want another child? You just had a baby. See, I don't always explain myself.
Mommy.
Like, I just do it. That's who I am.
Mama.
And this is what I got. My perfect little girl. See, I don't regret anything. See, I got my mama's girl. See, perfect little girl. See, that's what life is about. And that's why I'm saying, any other YouTuber out there, like, I'm going to be sending links out to everybody. And if you can help me in any way, you're not just helping me. You're not just helping my children. You're helping other women and other men that are going through IVF. And that where this does not happen again. Because you know what? I don't know what the Montreal police are doing right now. They haven't got back to me. It's been 4 weeks. And you know what? I don't know how they're doing their investigation. All I know is that I'm making it public for you to know that you're not protected. And that there's no law on IVF. And the police, they don't want to investigate. They're sitting in their office, drinking their coffee and eating their donuts. They don't care. And that's my personal opinion. Because you know what? If it's not videotaped, they're not coming after you. You can commit a crime and get away with it. Where is the justice? You see, What the Hells? Like, he had it on videotape where one of his landlord's friends came over harassing him and ran over his foot. Like, he wasn't seriously hurt, but he had a couple of scratches. He had it on videotape. What happens, when you don't have it on videotape? You see, in life, you always have to have your camera in your hand, and when something happens, you have to pull it out and videotape it. You see, I regret not videotaping and sharing my life story on YouTube, my journey. Because it is very interesting and fascinating, and I've been, it's like doing a lot of things. Like, I actually went to Ukraine, Kiev. And you know what? I don't regret it. I was there for 2 weeks. And I had a good time. I met a lot of nice people. And you know what? I learned, don't be afraid to do new things in life. Because you never know. You might just enjoy it. You're never too old to learn new tricks. And to go experience life and just, do it. It's like, life is too short to just be incognito. See, that's my life, It's like not sharing anything, just going in the background and just being me, But this subject is so important that I am sharing my life. I am exposing everything. I could be like everybody else and just say, nah, I'm not going to share my life. I'm just going to let it be. But I can't. As a mother, you don't go near my children. You don't touch my children. because I'm a mother bear. Let me tell you, I'm Irish, Scottish, and you know, I come from a long line of warriors. My mother's a McKinnon, and if you look up the McKinnons, we are from a tribe, and we are fierce people. We stand up for what's right, and we fight, and we don't give up. See, my mom's family are very loyal, good people. And that's from what I come from. We have a family Bible that goes back from the 1400s. And it's given to the firstborn son. And each firstborn son gives it to his son and his son. And all the births that we have are recorded in our family Bible. You see, where we know where we come from. We know who we are. See, that's what's important, to know who you are and where you come from. See, I'm a descendant from a McKinnon. My mother was a McKinnon. My father is a Linus. You know, we originated, the Linus family originated in Prussia. And most Linuses don't even know who the fuck they are. See, you need to know who you are. See, I have a very rare blood type, and it originates in Europe. You need to know exactly who you are, to trace down your people, who you are. And it's important to trace your lineage, who you are and where you come from. You know what? Everything in life is important. You may not think it's important today, but down the line, your descendants are going to look back and say, who are you? Where did you come from? I want to know my history. I want to know my people. See, we will be doing ancestry DNA testing, and I'm going to be registering all my children with all these different companies. Our genealogy will be recorded forever. And you know what? My child that was stolen, his DNA is going to pop up. My sons are going to find their brother. I don't know when it's going to happen, but it will happen. You know, either it's going to happen in the next few months, it will play out. But if it doesn't, ancestry DNA does not lie. DNA is black and white. Either it is or it isn't. So you know what? The garbage will be taken out. It's just a matter of when. And this message is for that lady. You stole my child. You knew what you were doing. Do you want that baby that you're raising right now to hate you the way my son is confused and lost? See, the truth always comes out. You have to tell him what you did. And if you don't, he will do DNA testing because everybody's interested in it. They want to know who they are. He will link up with his siblings. And his siblings will tell him and show him these videos. And he will never talk to you again. Because you know what? He will be a man at that time, and he will know the truth. He will hate you. And he will not respect you. You will lose him. So you know what? Truth. is what we need. If you have any decency in your body, reach out to the Montreal Police Department on Timmins Investigation Unit and tell them that this doctor gave you, sold you, whatever, these embryos, and you were desperate to have a child. And you know what? Maybe woman to woman, we can work this out. Maybe we can join forces and changing the law and doing this and stopping doctors like this from doing this to any other woman. So right now, I'm putting the ball in your court. Either you want your son to hate you, that you're not his mother, your husband is not his father, he was never supposed to be there, that he was stolen as his son. So it's up to you how you want to play this out. You're going to look at him when he's 15, 18, when he decides to do this. And he will link up with full genetic sibling, his son, like my son, and his sister. And they will tell him the truth and show him these videos. So it's up to you on what you want to do. Enjoy him for now. Because you know what? He will hate you. Every child deserves to know where they come from. And you know what? I'm trying not to hate you right now. You stole a lot from me. And I know right now that I need to stop this doctor. And everybody needs to know. And I don't care. And for the people on Facebook, thank you. A lot of people have reached out to me and said, this is incredible. It's unbelievable. But you know what? The truth is coming out slowly. And it all depends on how fast you want that bandage ripped off. Because you do have rights. And right now, you need to tell the truth. And it doesn't matter, you know. They are going to find out who you are. But it's better for you to reach out and say, yes, I am the recipient. He did sell me these. You know, I didn't know I was hurting anybody. Okay? So, you know, no matter what, it is what it is. The damage is done. And it all depends on how we are going to work on this. Help stop this crime from doing this again. Because exposure will always come out. There's so many ways you could have had this child. You didn't need to do what you did. So you know what? It is what it is. Reach out to the police, tell the truth. And we can work on this. We can make arrangements. And you know what? Woman to woman, we can work this out. But I'm telling you, if you think that things stay a secret, they don't. All right. Just letting you on the update. Right now, no news from the police. Facebook, I stepped on someone's toes. So right now, that's going to be cleared up. But this is my life. And you know what? I don't like it. But you know what? When you put your shit into my life, I am going to expose it. And I'm going to bring out the shit. Because I don't like a dirty house. So you know what? I'm cleaning house. The shit is being taken out. So it all depends on what you want. Like I say, today or tomorrow doesn't make a difference. The truth is coming out. It's just a matter of when. So I'll give you another update when I have it. And periodically I will do that. Like I say, This is my daughter. Hey, princess.
Angel.
You're playing with your brother's stickers. Hey, princess. Love you. All right. Like I say, I'm just learning how to do this, and I'm not perfect. I don't know how to use my camera just yet, but I'm figuring out everything with YouTube, posting everything. Gary's doing a lot of work. Facebook, everything. Learning that too. And right now I have over 600 subscribers and that friends with, and their friends and their friends. And I had this one woman reach out to me and say, I'm just sending you this to say I have discussed this with colleagues that I've worked with, but it's on the QT. A lot of people don't want to put their name out there that they're standing up for you. There's a lot of people that are there in silence right now until it explodes. Like all shit bubbles. It explodes. It all depends on what kind of diarrhea you want. Okay? So you know what? What comes around goes around. Be a good person. And God will look out for you. And if you don't, you know where you're going. It's nice and hot. And you know what? You will pay. All depends on how you want to pay. You're paying with your soul right now. So it's up to you. All right, out.